Hello,
Hello,
Yash.
sir. Hello.
I'm back.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So, I think we have talked about the battles we fight within ourselves. We have covered the source of conflicts. We have covered boundaries between humans. And today's agenda was to see how we perceive life. What's the perception of life? So, I think, yeah, let's start with it.
Nice. Uh, to initiate the topic, can I ask you a question?
Sure, sir.
So, when you use or hear or think about life, what comes to mind? What is life as per you?
So, for me, if I see life, it's a series of events happening between birth and death. And if I connect it with the topics which we discussed, I think my life is how I behave, how I act. It all derives from uh, what I have learned throughout and what are the boundaries set around me. So that is what I believe is life. Uh, and that is also how I see people's life around me or imagine their life around me. Means if I see them from a certain perspective, then I see that they must be having that type of life. If they are coming from certain area, then they must be having certain side of life. So that's what I feel is life.
Very nice. So, as you said, events from birth to death. That's one way of looking at it. Now, if I'm wearing this shirt because I bought it.
Yeah.
But suppose I was living 5,000 years back, will I have the shirt?
No.
So somebody who invented cotton,
Mm.
produced a thread out of it,
Yes.
produced a cloth out of that,
Mm.
out of cloth made a shirt,
Mm.
or discovered how a shirt can be made. Is he part of my life or not?
Indirectly, I would say. Indirectly, yes.
But he has contributed
Yeah.
to the quality of life I have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So perception of life will have many components. First, as you rightly said, span of life.
Mm.
So we normally look at life as my life
Mm.
from log in to log out.
Yes.
And let me tell you, it's very, very few enlightened people who are able to see life like that. There is a certain expanded level of awareness and self people have, those who can view life. Normally, we perceive life as present and 4 5 years future.
Mm. Yeah.
So when somebody asks you how is life, what is the span that you
Mm.
keep in mind while answering the question?
Yeah. Mostly people look at the problems they're having, the current scenarios they're facing in their life, and that's how they respond. Acha hai, bura hai.
This
The struggles, the basic struggle of life they're going through, that defines the response to that particular answer. How are you?
that defines the response.
Yeah.
So there are many dimensions of the perception. Span is one, quality is second, purpose of life is another,
Hmm.
problems I have,
Hmm.
and finally the experience that I am having.
Hmm.
All this gets composed of life or my life. The second distinction is my life or life.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So normally when I answer this question, I my answer is focused on my life and not life per se.
Yes. Yes.
So I'll recount an experience. I was in Mumbai. We went for dinner to a
Hmm.
seaside restaurant,
Hmm.
and there were no vacant tables, and we were waiting. And while waiting, naturally, I was looking at the sea, and I saw a pattern that at any moment of time, there are normally three waves. One wave is a robust, full of energy, very dynamic, that simultaneously there is another wave which is on the shore. It is slow, it is peaceful, there's no energy such, it is settled. And at the
Yeah.
same and at the same time, there is another wave which is forming at a distance.
I'm just trying to create an image of that. Thinking, yeah, that's yeah. I never thought like that, but yeah, that's what we see usually.
That's what we normally see. Occasionally there'll be three, four. It may vary from shore to shore. And then looking at that, suddenly it occurred to me that this is how generations come on earth.
Absolutely.
There is one generation which is full of energy, robust, moving very dynamically. There is another generation at the same time which is mixing with the shore, and another one which is.
Yes.
So if we take an average generation gap of about 25 years, which means four generations in a century. So
Hmm.
from the time of Christ, there have been only 80 waves on earth.
Hmm. Interesting. That's interesting way to see that. Yeah.
So apart from now, how much do you see in terms of geography and time will define your perception?
Yeah. I think uh, I'm just thinking from this perspective only. Like last night also, I was having a conversation with my friend, and he was talking about a similar phenomena. I was telling. He was asking me if we see 100 years down the line, will there be a change in the way people look at Mahatma Gandhi? So will it be the similar type of image persona people create for him? No, it will be different, totally different. Like now we are looking at dynasty and so on. So after 200-300 years, the struggle or the freedom fight what we have gone through, it will just become a story somewhere written in the history
In the
books.
past, somewhere
Yeah,
in the past.
but no one will be able to relate to it. So if I look at my life, I think the most recent events which occurred in last 30, 40 years or 50 years, or from the geography point of view, in last 100 years, those are the things to which I can relate to immediately because I can see certain things which are happening in, let's say, if I am living in India and I consider that to be a geographical boundary, then there are certain way India is now which I feel, and that is also my opinion, and I feel that that is due to events happened in last 100 years. So mostly, I think if I perceive from that perspective, I will look at 100-year window. Uh, I think looking beyond that, it is just creating more what if scenarios, but most likely last 100 years, a century.
Okay, interesting. Imagine 200 years back yourself,
Yeah.
born in a village which naturally did not have electricity, and perhaps did not even have a road.
mm,
And birth to death, what will be your perception of life?
mm. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, probably whatever I would have at that point, those will become my source of reality. And I might again look back from there past for 50 years that if we have roads now, what we used to have 50 years behind the scene. And if we have a cattle for that matter, or uh, we have reached a point where we are able to do certain level of cultivation, what we used to do 50 years back or 100 years back. Uh, and I think that 50-year, 100-year window is also created due to the education. Probably, if the person at that time, if I treat him to be an illiterate, or they might not have went to any constitution of education, their perception will be very limited. Uh, Probably just a span of few years, because it might be a series of event, and they might just see that it is how the world is. Uh,
So to continue on the perception of life, you have already realized that depends upon the circumstances, the exposure,
yes,
and the extent of geography and time that you are able to perceive it.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
you have already seen that somebody who lived long back and invented a threat
Mm,
is part of my life.
absolutely.
The next question, that related question on that shore itself, came, where am I in this?
Mm,
And it occurred to
probably,
me that,
mm,
tell me.
yeah, probably that middle wave, the wave with the powerful wave, what you said. So that's where we are.
So the answer that came was, I am one of the tiny water particles
Mm.
in one of these three waves.
Yeah, we can't say in which wave we are. Yeah. Yes.
And the next question came, what am I doing? So I'm surrounded by some 100, 200, 300 tiny particles, and I'm rubbing against them, trying to go over them, sometimes getting deflected by their forces.
Yes.
So that was my self-image
Mm.
that I discovered in the context of life, in the context of my life, in the context of perception of life.
But can you just answer one thing? Because it's a common question wherever we go. This is a common question across people, across geographies. What is the purpose of life? And if I want to relate that to the same analogy which what you gave, the three waves and the beach, how do we see the purpose of life there? Or because I think if we see from that analogy perspective, like you said, that as a particle we are rubbing around and trying to come forward, or someone is pushing us. So if we see from there, there is it seems like as such there is no purpose of life. We are just a wave. We are one particle of the wave, and we are reaching the shore.
Okay, so one more word about the perception of life before we move on to this. Everybody's perception of life is unique,
Yes.
like our fingerprints. And you can very well appreciate why is it unique.
Mm,
Coming to the current question, purpose. Purpose will perhaps delay for a few more
okay.
podcasts. Uh, for now, I will only say that we are too conscious about our public image.
Mm,
But actually, perception of life is a function of self-image. Purpose of life is a function of self-image. And I suggest we talk about self-image in the next podcast.
beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay?
Yeah. So before we end, Just want one question. Uh, uh, like we have already discussed the boundaries and why boundaries arise. If we just try to connect the dots, how the boundaries which we have discussed in the last podcast and try to see how they appear on surface, how that connects to my perception of life. Uh, if we can cover this
My
as the last,
perception of life actually determines what boundaries will I have and what boundaries I will not have.
is it not another way around? Means
No,
my
no,
boundaries define my perception of life.
no. My boundaries are formed out of my perception of life.
Hmm.
My boundaries are formed out of my perception of life.
But the perception of life, what I get, it is due to the conditioning or due to the like geography or time zone uh, where I'm born. And you're saying due to that conditioning, I'm just trying to, because it's very powerful thought, and I'm just trying to make a better version or a simpler version for myself so that I can go back and think or ponder around it. So you're saying that uh, after my birth, uh, I
I
developed
got
that
a
perception
question.
of life.
I got a question. The answer is two words: exposure and experience.
Okay. Okay. So exposure and experience defines my perception, and that perception defines my boundaries,
Yes.
and those boundaries defines my source of conflict.
Quality of life.
Yeah. Awesome, beautiful, enlightening.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we can end here. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful exposure and how these all things connect. And I think we would love to hear from people and if they have any questions around the last three podcasts because uh, I was going through one video and I heard that we should have questions. The more we question any ideas, the more clarity we develop. So I would request the audience to post their questions in the comments, leave their feedback because that acts as a encouragement for us and also give us direction. So thanks for watching and thanks for sharing your love. We want more and more of that. Thanks.
You'll get it.